Welcome to Matter of Action. I'm Wayne Morrow along with Christian Gomez, and our topic today is the USMCA, United States and Mexico Canada Agreement. That's a mouthful, but it's really a trade agreement, right? Not really. So what are supporters saying here? Number one, it says it'll benefit national and global economy, but we say it will undermine American sovereignty. Will it increase the job market? I don't think so, but it'll threaten the United Nations. There's many. So I have with me Christian, who writes about the USMCA for the New American Magazine, and he's along this morning to give you some insight of really what's going on in the USMCA and some updates. So, Christian, this is all a total lies, isn't it?
I'm sorry, what?
It's a total lie, isn't it?
Yeah, the idea that the USMCA is going to benefit the American economy there couldn't be anything further away from the truth than that.
Yep.
The USMCA is going to subordinate the U.S. to international authority. Mm-hmm. So those of you who don't find this topic very interesting or are not on board with the JBS campaign to stop the USMCA, you should recognize that this is not just a simple trade agreement between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. This is a step towards regional economic integration and the building of a new political institution that supersedes the United States of America and brings us a step closer towards an inevitable North American Union. And we can stop that future by stopping the USMCA now in its tracks before we get to that point.
Yeah. Interesting that I read through some of the supporters. It says that it will certainly create a level playing field or trading field. It'll create prosperity for new companies. It also said they will support free trade between nations.
Yeah, that's the idea behind the USMCA, right, that we're being told. In fact, the competitiveness chapter of the USMCA, and you can look that up on the USTR.gov website. Yep. Click on free trade agreements and then click on the USMCA and click on the competitiveness chapter.
Right.
And it talks about the idea is to make North America more competitive. But when it speaks about North America, it doesn't mean North America in the sense of, we want to make Canada to be more competitive against like countries in Europe and Asia, or Mexico more competitive, or the United States, which, our country, more competitive before other countries. No, it's about integrating the North American economy as one unified North American economy that would then be competitive with other regional economies. So this isn't about making the U.S. a stronger economy and more resilient, but this is about North America. It goes beyond the boundaries of our country.
Sounds like a union to me. So this reminds me of the TPP that President Trump, one of the first things he did, he got rid of the TPP immediately. So this kind of smacks much like the TPP, isn't it?
Basically, all the so-called economic benefits that are found in the USMCA, the idea that we're going to sell more dairy to Canada, that was already in the TPP, the exact same numbers. Basically, what the USMCA is, in a nutshell, it's the TPP for North America. Just the U.S., Mexico, and Canada carved out of the TPP, and here's the new NAFTA called the USMCA. It's just TPP for North America. That's all it really is.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't the president of Mexico, before he left office, actually say was it integration or economic integration? Didn't he admit that to his people, his citizens of Mexico?
In fact, last time we had the clip where we played it with the Mexican president at the time, President Enrique Peña Nieto, was saying just that this would facilitate the economic integration of North America, and it moves forward on that vision that they've had. And this has been the position of the Mexican government, regardless of political party in Mexico, from the time of President Vicente Fox to President Calderón, President Peña Nieto, of course, and even the current president of Mexico, AMLO. They remain committed to the idea of integrating with the U.S. and Canada and forming a North American Union. They know what this is really about. That's why the presidents of Mexico openly admit what it's about. But our American presidents, well, they talk in terms of markets and expanding opportunities for business, but that's not really what the USMCA is about. It's about creating a North American union or community.
Yeah, reading through the bill, I see that you can hire anyone from 3 countries, so it's borderless. Now, the big issues are about building the wall. And if this passes, the wall's irrelevant. Who cares, right?
That's absolutely right. Well, the USMCA, in various chapters, one in the financial services chapter and one of the other chapters as well, talks about the mobility of nationals from other countries and how quotas can't be put in place to limit the amount of foreign workers if a company perceives that it's needed for its work. Right. So a company in the U.S. can say, hey, we need cheap labor from Mexico that's coming from Mexico. So the U.S. government, no, your wall, your immigration policies that hinder the movement of Mexican nationals to the U.S. or nationals even from other countries outside of the North American zone. No, you can't do that because it benefits our business to have these illegals to work here. So the USMCA undoes any kind of restrictive immigration policy that protects the sovereignty of our citizens.
Right. So much for jobs. Actually, you lose jobs this way. So it's opposing.
It makes new jobs, but not for the American people.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. It also has, 34 chapters and 2,300 pages? I mean, it's kind of amazing to have that much text for a trade agreement. So we know it's beyond trade. There's a lot more to this, right?
That's exactly right. If this was just a trade agreement, then you just have a couple sheets of paper. I mean, if you look at the U.S. free trade agreement with Israel, which was done way back in the 80s, it's only a handful of sheets of paper. Right. I'm not necessarily endorsing that free trade agreement, but that was only a few sheets of paper. Right. This is a free trade agreement with our closest neighbors, Mexico and Canada, and it's largely expanded beyond the pages of NAFTA. More chapters, more pages, and it covers whole sectors that NAFTA didn't. So if NAFTA was bad, this is worse. And if you like NAFTA, then you should love USMCA because this is literally NAFTA on steroids. It expands into the internet, into e-commerce. It expands into labor provisions, things that, and even the environment. NAFTA never dealt with the environment before, but it was thought to be just about trade. But because we are integrating 3 different countries, 3 different economic systems, well, all the domestic and foreign policies of all 3 countries have to be now aligned and congruent, and that's what we're seeing what the USMCA is doing. It's aligning environmental, labor policy, almost everything you can think of under the sun.
So I noticed reading through some of it, they actually create this commission, right, of the 3 countries.
Yeah, in Chapter 31.
And they basically will dictate to our Congress, which is ultimately to us, our trade policies and any provisions you mentioned about. So they circumvent the Constitution, don't they?
That's exactly right. Right now, under the Constitution, Congress has the power to levy tariffs, to impose such trade measures as they see fit that benefit our country and the American people and American businesses. But this gives that authority over to unelected, unknown bureaucrats at the international level between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, people that we don't even know who they are and can't recall from office.
Right. So, they say that it's going to have job market increasing. It's going to be a level trade field of trade. It's going to create all kinds of wonderful things, abolish taxes. In reality, it does totally opposite. We're going to lose jobs, right? We're going to lose sovereignty. And it's interesting as the Democrats are going to be not acted on it yet. So as we get ready to close, what is our timing on this when we think they're going to act on this USMCA bill for a vote in Congress?
Well, we don't have an exact timing, but last week, the North American Farm Bureau News Service reported that the Democrat majority leader, Steny Hoyer, stated that he couldn't say when Pelosi would allow action to move forward for the USMCA, but he did say this, quote, if we can get an agreement, we will move it as quickly as possible. So once the Democrats reach a consensus with Robert Lighthizer, the U.S. Trade Representative, about the USMCA, they're going to speed that baby like there's no tomorrow. They're going to go warp speed at it.
Nice political tool. Join the battle of the JBS. Get busy and keep our freedom. Remember, USMCA is a bad deal. Please oppose it. Call your congressman now. Thanks. Until next time, your part matters.